Good morning. We are doing the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is chapter 11 and we had completed till verse 31. We will be starting verse 32 today. So what we had done in chapter 11 up to verse 31 was the questions which Arjuna had asked Sri Krishna. He had asked him a question. I know you are somebody great. I know you are the Almighty God. You are the whole universe. But I would like to know who you are actually. It's like telling a person, I know you are so and so, but I still want to know who you are. So it's a very strange kind of a question. And Arjuna is being humored by Sri Krishna. Krishna is saying, see, I am this, I am that. And he kept on saying a lot of stuff. And he said, I am the highest of the highest. I am the pinnacle of anything. I am the absolute ultimate reality. But still, Arjuna's questions were persisting. And after that, Sri Krishna showed him a form. Because Arjuna was dissatisfied with his answers, so Krishna had to show him a universal form, which is what we call as the Virat Swarupa. And in that he showed everything happening. He had got so many hands and legs and faces on so many sides and all those kind of things. And after showing him that, Arjuna still is not able to grasp the reality. He still says, you have such a terrible form. And actually the form would be not terrible, it would be humongous. There are no words to describe that huge form because it is not only doing, chomping the humans and the Rakshasas and everybody up to bits, but also doing all the good stuff in the world. So whether that is good or whatever, everything is happening in that form. And it is covering the entire whole, the canvas. I can't even call it the canvas because canvas is also limited by space. See? But that is something which cannot be understood by mankind. So, and there is neither the beginning nor the middle nor the end. So he is a primal being. He is right at the beginning. Nobody knows where the beginning is. See, at least as far as you are concerned, your parents will say, yes, you were born on this date. At least the doctor will say, okay, somebody will give you a date of birth. They will say you came out at this point in time. All right. And there is always a death also. The person died at this hour, at this day. But for Krishna, there is neither the beginning nor the middle nor the end. It's an endless thing. Eternity. It's eternal. Nobody knows. So he says, you are a primal being and I would like to know what is it that you intend to do. So this is where we had ended last time. So we are going to do the coming verse onwards. So we are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 11 verse 32 onwards. Shri Bhagwan said, I am the mighty Kala. Kala means time. The destroyer of this world. I am out to exterminate these people. Even without you, all those warriors arrayed in the enemy camps shall die. Here is the ultimate human truth. Nobody in this world can be alive. Everybody has to die. Death is terminal. It ends that particular body. Whatever body and whatever form a person takes, that form has to end. And when that form terminates, your spirit soul goes again into another body, depending on the karma that you have done. It is not depending on somebody's whims and fancies. There is no God sitting over there. Yeah, I don't like your face. You go into this body. He's not like that. Krishna is never like that. It is all dependent on what you do in this life. Your next birth is dependent on exactly what you do now. See, think about it. In yesterday's satsang, where I was doing the Uddhav Gita, I had mentioned very clearly that if you are from the Sattva Guna, at least you will have a decent life in your next rebirth. If you are Rajasic, then you have what is called as an Asuric Shakti. You have the Asuras inside of you. And because you have the Asuras inside of you, you are going to be born in their womb. So the next birth will be lesser than the previous one. Because you are driven by desires. Anybody who is in the Rajasic mode is driven by desires. I want to do this. I will destroy this person. I will do this. You know those kind of words that come up from the mouth of a person? That person is a Rajasic person. And his degradation is always in the tamas. It is never higher up, never. It is always coming down. A person who has ambition, wants power, fame, fortune, everything that is there. All the politicians in the world, absolutely A to Z. All the police, everything that is there, they require that power. They require to see who they are, how they can rule the world. And when that kind of a thing happens, please understand, the more power you enjoy, the more desires arise in your life. And because more desires arise in your life, you keep on degrading yourself, falling further and further and further. And that is why Krishna is giving an understanding that everything comes to an end. Everything and everybody comes to an end. There is no such thing as, going on forever. No. You may be the greatest person on earth. You may be the king of a country. You may be queen. You may be whatever that you feel like. There is always going to be a fall. Guaranteed. Either you may be a dictator in your country. You are definitely going to get slaughtered. You are going to get killed. You may surround yourself with the topmost security in the world. In olden times, you have heard of so many people, right from Hitler and prior to him, after him, all those dictatorial regimes have completely got destroyed. Somebody asked me a question a few days ago. They said that this city is growing at such a tremendous pace. There is pollution in the air. High-rise buildings are coming. What is going to happen? People are running after money. Everybody is doing something or the other. And everybody, high-rise buildings, lot of money, lot of power, lot of fame. People are running after everything. What is going to happen to them? I said, haven't you heard of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa? Haven't you heard of Atlantis? Haven't you heard of Pompeii? You see, all these great cities, all these great kingdoms, all the greatest of the things in the world will be brought to their ruins and on their knees. How can that happen in a day? The person continued. I said, why is it difficult? Haven't you seen what happened when the pandemic struck last year? A buzzing city full of people running hither and thither for making money was brought down to its knees. You can't even enter a restaurant now. All those fancy restaurants have closed down. The big office spaces that were there running in tall buildings are completely gone. Nobody goes to office, nobody works from there, everybody is working from home. Imagine if you are given that opportunity to work from home for 1 year or 2 years, do you think you will want to go to office after that? I don't think so. People will hate going to office, they will not want to see people around them in their vicinity. This is called isolation. So this has taken over a period of 1 year or two. So how will this city, which is rising literally from wherever it was, what will happen to it? I said, just imagine a small heavenly body, a meteorite or a meteor, hardly about half a kilometer in length, even 500 meters in length, comes and crashes onto that place. Do you know what is the impact of that? That entire tall buildings and everybody in the vicinity of at least 100-200 kilometers will be brought to ruins. What makes you think that God is not time? Krishna is giving us this very clear example. I am Kala. I am the time. So, please understand how Kala works. Everybody can be brought to their knees by the snap of a finger, like Thanos does. That is only movies. But here, just imagine. Okay? Just imagine this kind of a thing happening. And the whole city is brought to ruins. Forget about the city. The nation itself will disappear. They are so proudly saying, I am this and I am that. What happens? In a few years' time, everything is finished. So this is how it works. Till human beings do not show the humility and work accordingly, nobody can save them. Absolutely nobody. It's a very funny thing today. I am sitting alone in front of a camera, a Facebook page, and I am doing satsangs. Maybe a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago or 1 year ago, at least a few people would be sitting and listening. Now they will come with the mask and they won't even sit. What happened to these people? They have become too busy in their world. They don't find time to attend a satsang. This is the only saving factor. Please remember this. This is the only saving factor in anybody's life. I just now gave you a scenario of how the whole business world or the biggest of the cities can be brought to its knees just by a stroke of Maya's wand. Maya just waves her wand and everything is destroyed. Human beings are frail creatures. They do not understand that it is so critical for them to at least be connected to the spiritual. They have their nose up in their air. And what do they tell me when I visit them? I always make a point of visiting these kind of people, trying to save them as much as I can. Guruji, I am very busy, the whole day. I don't have the time. I have to look after this one, that one. I have to do the shopping. I have to do the work. Of course, you are a servant of everybody. If you are a man, you are a servant of your wife, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister. You are a servant of everybody. Naturally, you are a servant. You may be working for a company. You are still a servant over there. They are not trying to save you. They are trying to drown you. Today's lesson is about understanding your duties. So please understand this lesson, very important lesson for you. If you do not understand what is going to save you from all these greatest disasters in this world, please remember, a stroke, just a small stroke like this, and you will be brought to your knees. And before that happens, isn't it important to take refuge? Isn't it important to take refuge? People think that, oh, it's not important. I have too many things to do. I have to earn my living. Of course you have to earn your living. Doesn't mean that you cannot spend half an hour or 1 hour per day. You are spending your whole life becoming a servant of somebody. If you are not a servant of your own wife or husband or children or fathers or mothers, at least you are a driver. You are driving people around. Somebody is dropping, oh, I have to drop my children to school. I have to bring their books. I have to do this. I have to do that. My boss says I have to be in a meeting at 3 a.m. in the morning. They have the cheek to talk to me that they have to be in a meeting at 3 a.m. because money, end of the day, money is important. My life is critical. But tomorrow when they are going to suffer a problem in their life, where are they going to go? To their bosses who has told them at 3 a.m. you should be awake for a meeting? Do you think their boss is going to be responsible? Their father or mother or your wife, the husband or children, do you think they will care? If you suffer from a heart attack, if you suffer from some debilitating disease, if you get into some trouble, maybe your legs are broken, maybe you meet with an accident or something terrible happens. Do you think these parents of yours or these husbands, wives, children, whoever that you are dreaming about, including your bosses or your downlines, do you think anybody is going to be around to take care of you? Nobody has the power to do anything, sir. Finally, you will have to come and say, I am sorry. Can you please take care of me, cure me, save me? At that time you think of God. And that is the time when a man thinks of God. They believe God is so critical at that point. Why? Because no doctor, no parents, no mother, no father, no husband nor wife, nobody can save them. And because nobody can save them, finally they are turning towards Krishna. They say, Krishna, please save me. But for attending a satsang, for listening to the word of God, nobody has the time. They are refusing to even come. Guruji, you are staying so far away. What? And reasons. When these issues come up in life, at that time you will have to run towards this person. I am the mighty Kala, the eternal time spirit, the destroyer of the world. I am out to exterminate these people. Do you understand these words? What do you mean by extermination? With one stroke, anybody can be destroyed. With a single stroke. And you may be amazed to know how this works. One person will be used against another to destroy. Do you get the point? We are going to learn it in the next coming verses how this works. Krishna is very clearly giving you a very stern word. The words are very, very important. I am the mighty Kala, the destroyer of the world. I am out to exterminate these people. Even without you, all those warriors arrayed in the enemy camp shall die, whether you like it or not. If you think you can save them, try your level best. If you think you can save yourself, you can do whatever you feel like. You can take the best pill in the world. Maybe you can build an entire planet where nobody, the Death Star also. You will not be able to save yourself. There isn't a single place on this earth or this entire solar system or this entire universe where anybody can save themselves. Because when Krishna is out to exterminate people, it doesn't matter. Even without you, if you are not interested in doing, I will get it done. You may think that this is a threat. It is not a threat. It is only a very, very important cautionary notice. Do you understand what it means to be cautious? You may consider it as a dire warning also. Nobody says you cannot consider it as a dire warning. It is a dire warning as well. Because you have already fallen down, then it is a dire warning. Don't fall further. But if you are still not done anything, and if you are still trying to understand, and if you are still trying to become a servant of somebody, this is a caution. Caution. Tread with care. Understood? And whom is he talking to? Krishna is talking to none other than Arjuna. And Arjuna is you. He says, heed my warning. Heed it. Because even if you say today, I am not going to do it, don't worry. It is going to get done. It is a very critical moment for anybody to understand. All for those people who think that it is important to serve their parents or their wives or their husbands and be lost in their jobs. Tomorrow when you come to this state, you think your near and dear ones are going to be of any help to you? Nobody. Nobody is going to be of any help to you. Nor the best medicines in the world. Nothing can help. So now we will go to the next verse. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 11. Verse 33. Therefore, you do arise and win glory, conquering foes, enjoy the affluent kingdom. These warriors already slain by me, but you only and be only an instrument, Arjuna. After that dire warning, Krishna is telling Arjuna something. He says, please arise and do your job. Please rise up and start doing what is necessary to be done. Listen to the words. I have just shown you my immense form, the Virat Swarup. Don't you understand who I am? I am even the mighty Kala. The Kala is time. The next dimension. It can be clean wiped. Wiped absolutely clean. There will be nothing there. So, it is very, very important at this point in time for you to rise. Get up. Wake up. This is the time for a wake-up call. I am waking you up. It is already 4 a.m. in the morning. It is time to wake up. You see? It is time to wake up. Get up and see what is happening. Just do your duty. Why are you bothered? You should not bother what you are doing is right or wrong. It's the duty that I have given to you. Just do your duty and don't crib over it. Don't say, why should I do this? This is not my problem. Who says it is not your problem? If it is right in front of your nose, it is better it's your problem then. So, therefore, arise and win glory. Winning glory is important. Everybody fights to win, isn't it? Everybody wants to win. Nobody goes into war or any situation to lose. Does anybody say, I want to lose, that's why I am doing this? No. Yes, in some cases, when there is a dire, you know, different kind of a motivation, then a person wants to lose. That's a different story. People play politics. But here Krishna is not talking of politics. He's just telling them, do your duty. That is it. Just do your duty. In the previous chapters he had said, do your duty being devoted to me. Isn't that what he said? Just be devoted to me. I have given you a certain job. Just go ahead and do it. Don't crib. Don't say anything. Your job is to do your duty. Rest is my problem. I will handle the rest. So, win glory. Conquering foes. You should try your level best to conquer the foes. Your enemies. It's important to conquer the enemies. You are always going to have a winning strategy. I don't think you would want to have a losing one, isn't it? You have to try to win. It's your duty to win. But if you lose, and that is what was supposed to be there, then it is okay, doesn't matter. But very important is to defeat these enemies. And that is why you have to overcome these feelings of yours. Sometimes a person has to take certain calls. The calls are very, very important in life because, see, let us say you are a 30, 40 or a 50-year-old person. You used to a certain lifestyle. And that lifestyle is going to work, coming back after your studies. After your studies, you have maybe a family to look after. What is your job? You just go to work, you come back, you take care of your wife, your husband or children, and that is, you earn your living. How does that work? You have a certain amount of money in your bank and you are thinking that you will save it for the future. There is a very live example which I have in front of me. There is this person. He has his own family home, which is quite a big home. But no, he wanted to have a different job. He wanted to go to a different town and wanted to live over there. Lived over there for a few years, having his own family. Now, the value of this person could be counted at, say, 1 crore rupees. If you have a 1 crore salary, the maximum that you can save is 15 lakhs or 20 lakhs per annum. That's all. You cannot save more than that. And if you save that much also, you are really doing the best in your life. Basically, you don't have anything. But the person dreams, I want to buy a 3 or a 4 crore house. 3 or a 4 crore house? My goodness. Yes, my monthly EMI is going to so much. I can be paying that much amount. Instead of saving that money, I will pay this much over here. Okay? And then he's banking on the future. I will get better salaries. I will do this. I will do that. The person thinks like this. So he buys a home. 3 crores, 4 crores. He gets a fantastic amount of loan. Now, for the next 20 years, he keeps on paying. By then, his children have grown up. The children want to go and study abroad. Okay? Not 15 years, 20 years. Let us say in 10 years time or 12 years time, the children have already grown up. Now they are going to college. They want to have a very big, degree from some foreign university maybe. They want to go to Australia, they want to go to England, they want to go to America, some such kind of a thing. So they take another loan on that house, second mortgage. And they keep on paying that as well. So the first loan may come to an end, the second loan has started. And then the marriage. They have to sell their property to get them married. So you start all over again. And this cycle continues because the grandchildren will come in, and by the time they retire, they are not able to retire because even at the age of 70, they are still thinking, oh, I still have this money to pay. And this is how it works. So they become servants till the end of their life. Now tell me something. Where is the peace? Where is the happiness? Where is the joy? And by the way, they have been going to temple every few weeks. They will go to the Sai Baba temple every Thursday and they will beg for more loans. Please get me this loan sanction. Please get me more. Please get me this. Please get me. Every Thursday they may go, or every Sunday they will go to church and they will say, in the name of the Father and of the Son. They will say these words also. And they will pray to Jesus Christ and say, Jesus, please give me this. Or they will have all these pujas, part throughout the year. Their wife also will do that. Still, at the end of 70 years and 75 years, they are still sweating. They don't have any money. They don't have peace of mind. They don't have money coming into them for anything. And now they are thinking, oh, I want to have a retired life. Sir, at the age of 40, 45, you should have retired. But you are still at the age of 60, 70 and 80, you still want to retire. Wow, what a great life you have led. Where was God by then? You fell sick every 10 years, isn't it? You had a heart attack, you had blood pressure, you had this, you had that. At that time, God came into the picture. But the God is a temporary issue. The God comes only for a time being. After that, He runs away. You have to start saving yourself. Do your duty diligently. Enjoy the affluent kingdom. But the affluent didn't come because you are after loans, isn't it? Rajas, your Rajasic tendency makes you take loans. That's not good. Please understand, everything is already terminated. Everything is laid out in a terminal way. What did Krishna say? I have already killed these fellows. It is my job to already destroy the whole world. Didn't I tell you I am the great exterminator? Right? Ghostbuster. I am that exterminator. I have destroyed everything. And what are you still thinking? That I have to make a living, I have to do this, I have to do that? That's not what you are supposed to do. Has it come right in front of your nose, then you do it. It's your job. But if it has not come in your way, you are still struggling. You are still trying to understand what is it that I got to do. Sir, what is not in front of you is nothing to do with you. Got it? If I wanted to make you into a politician, I will make you a politician if need be. It is not your calling. You are not even there. Your job is your job. You see, people have this. I met some two, young women recently, and one of them wants to become something, second one wants to become something. One of them is a very good dancer. The other one is a good artist, maybe. I'm just giving an example. This person thinks that I have to become something else. In their own legs is the power to do something, and yet they are dreaming of becoming something completely different. Not realizing that that is not their swadharma. Their swadharma is already within them. That this is what you got to do. And yet they are running after this kind of a, chimera they call it, Chimera means like that Haran of Shri Ram and Sita. You remember that golden deer which came in front of Sita? Exactly like that. It's a chimera. It's just an illusion. People think illusion is true. What is there within them, they don't think it is true. If you have some artistic tendency, if you have a dancing capability, if you are an artist, if you are a singer, if you are something which is there, why don't you make use of that talent which God has given you? What are you running after other things for? You may get success over there after 20 years of working, but let me tell you, that success will go away very soon. It will just run out of the window like that and you won't even notice it. But what is your talent? What God has given you, that nobody can take it away from you. Please know this. Nobody in this world can take it away from you. If you have a singing talent, sing. Do it. So what is Krishna saying? Therefore do arise and win the glory in this world. Do your job. What is there meant for you? Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya. Some woman is a dancer. Some is a singer. Other one is, a designer. Please rise and do your duty. Go do it. Conquering foes, that means win all the glories that are there. The affluent kingdom. I have made this affluent kingdom for you. Why are you not realizing it? This whole kingdom is ahead of you. Go do it. These warriors already stand like, whoever is opposing you, whoever is there against you, they will all go away. I have already killed them, don't worry. They appear like human beings and alive. They are like zombies. You understand zombie? The zombie will have like this. You see? Right? That is the one. They walk with their hands. I don't think zombies walk like that in their life. Okay? You can actually see zombies in your life right in front of your nose. Those fellows are there. Those women are there. They will be walking as if in sleep. Yes, what is it? Their voice also is like that. Huh? So these people are there in your life. They are literally like duds, dead people. So he says, Krishna says, I've already killed them. Why are you bothered? You just be my instrument. I am the operator. You are just an instrument. The day everybody understands these words, they would have been on Krishna's side. Otherwise, they are against him. You see, if you think you are going to oppose Krishna, you have to wait till the 18th chapter to understand the true meaning of it, okay? And so don't oppose right now. It's just a heads up given in the 11th chapter, verse 33. Just a heads up is given. See, this is what it means. So just be careful. Alright? The Bhagavad Gita is just not some ordinary text for you to, it's okay. I will know Bhagavad Gita. First I have to take care of my office work. Then I have to take care of my wife. I have to take care of my son, my daughter, my this, my that. Yeah, I have a lot of work to do. Bhagavad Gita, later on I will listen. So what is the big deal? Later on never comes. And even if it comes, you are still going to be the loser. So he says, can you be my instrument? I am just going to operate through your body. You see, you will be moving your fingers and hands and all that, but I am the one who is actually manipulating you from behind. So can you just do that? Arjuna, please rise and do the duty which I have told you to do. And don't waste your time and life. Okay, so we will move to the next verse now. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 11, verse 34. Do kill Drona and Bhishma and Jayadratha and Karna and other brave warriors who already stand killed by me. Fear not. Fight and you will surely conquer the enemies in the war. Now tell me something. If somebody is already telling you, see, it is like opening up the future for you. Huh? And Krishna is telling Arjuna this thing. I have already killed Dronacharya, Bhishma, Karna, Jayadratha, everybody I have killed. And yet Arjuna doesn't realize that here he is telling the future. You just imagine this situation. Many a times when people come to me, I very quietly tell them their future. Very quietly. They will not even realize. Like Krishna is telling, this verse literally gets blanked out from the memories of everybody. They don't actually listen to me. It's like this. In the material world, people don't want to listen. Even if I give them a heads up and tell them, this is the future. And that future, they don't understand. But you have to be an instrument to go to that future. If you keep on opposing whatever I say, and you keep on opposing me till the end of the day, if I tell you don't open your mouth and speak, and you will still keep on talking, and if you still keep on doing the same thing which your nature is driving you to do, it's telling you, oh, you have to speak, you have to do this, you have to do that, and you keep on doing that. Whereas I've already told you your future, and you refuse to listen to me. There is a problem there. You are not my instrument anymore. Then Maya is going to take charge of you. And finally, what I have already destined, that is what is going to happen. Got the answer? People have really no inkling of what is being said. Here, Arjuna really doesn't understand what Krishna is talking about. Do kill Dronacharya and Bhishma and Jayadratha and Karna. Now, who are these guys? I had already explained to you, Dronacharya was the teacher. Bhishma Pitama was the grandsire. Jayadratha was the father-in-law of the person who got killed. You know that. Whom are we talking about? You will wonder, who is this Jayadratha? I don't remember who that guy is. Go study. I've just given you a hint. If you want, Google it and see for yourself. Every now and then I can't keep on telling you all the stories. So, Jayadratha is like that. Karna. Karna people know because they are very sympathetic towards Karna. All this girl gang thing, they love Karna a lot. If you go to all these internet portals, and you will find all the girls and all the women in the world, they are very happy with Karna. That fellow did his duty. Who the hell is saying that? Karna is not doing. There is a gun pointing towards his head when he is supposed to do. He doesn't want to do. He is telling the world, this is my duty. Who are you to tell the world this is your duty? Please understand, you can't tell Krishna, this is my duty. You see, people come and tell me also the same thing. They will say, Guruji, this is my duty, I have to take care of my wife and children. And my father and my mother, they are very old people. This is my duty. When I find time, I will do your satsang. Congratulations. You're very busy in your life. Duty. You cannot define. You don't have the right to define what job you have been sent here for. Do you understand? This is a very important statement which I am making. Who do you think you are to define your duty? When you were put in that body of yours, your duty was already defined. You are that particular thing, that, a piece of a puzzle which goes only in one place. You cannot tell the Lord what duty you are supposed to be doing. He is already put you in that place. If He is telling you, go kill this person, that is your duty. But people have a difficulty of understanding their duty. Like I have one disciple of mine. It's not one times or two times. I have told this disciple of mine at least 100 times that you have this talent. Can you do something about the talent of yours? Yes. You see, their yes is like this. Yes, Guruji. They say yes with their mouth, but their head shakes this way. Yes. They are saying no to me. I think for me to become a servant of some person is very important. I have to do that job. I have to make some money. Then I will think of what you are saying. It's after I have sufficient money, then I think I will take up this thing which you are telling me to do. But in front of me, they will agree, yes, Guruji. In the Indian way of shaking their head, right? Going round, 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 and maybe left to right. Yes. What yes? There is already a defined duty. You are nobody to dictate terms here. Karna is not a person who can dictate terms of what is right for him and what is wrong for him. And all those who support Karna, Karna has to meet his end. Got it? He's been given a job. And if you are given a job to do certain thing, that is the job you are given. You see, there are certain jobs which are prescribed in this world. Some people are the kasais, butchers. That is a job that they have been given. Who says that they cannot do? Oh, I cannot kill animals. Who is this person who says these words? Who is this one who keeps on saying, till the age of 25 you have been drinking milk and tea and coffee and everything doused with milk, and now, no, I am a vegan. From today onwards I will not have any animal products. Who has decided that? Then what happens? 10 years, 20 years down the line, your body is not able to handle that situation. Very shortly, in the coming 10, 20 years time, you will have something of a disease or some kind of a genetic disorder which will not be able to handle the disease, the problem that you have created in your world. Just imagine if you are a young woman of 21, 22 or 24 years of age and you think that drinking milk is harming the cows, drinking this, I don't want to eat non-veg, I don't want to eat this, all these things you keep on saying. Until that time you are doing everything, okay? And suddenly you take a stand, I will not do. 10 years later, when you are having your first baby, because you wanted to marry late, maybe you married at the age of 34. You are a woman who marries at the age of 34 and you have a baby at the age of 35 because now you are becoming older, so you want to have a baby. What happens if that baby turns out autistic? What happens if that baby doesn't have the gene to digest those things which you have disowned? Do you think the genetic thing doesn't work? By the way, who has given you the right of trying to describe what duty you have? Are you not responsible for destroying that child's future? Because it is your genetic structure. You have gone and done all the wrong things possible. I will prove this point to you very shortly. Let me give you an example. When a woman is pregnant, she drinks a lot, let us say. She drinks liquor. She eats a lot of wrong things. Doesn't that affect the child? Alcohol and all these things, maybe she smokes a lot. Doesn't that destroy the baby's future? It's exactly the same manner when you may not realize what you are doing today. Go and do whatever you feel like. The future is not going to be supportive to you. I can write and give you. Guaranteed. This is not an ominous kind of a statement. Please remember, this is how you designed your future. All you people who think today that this is what I want to live in this world, you are designing your future. God is not responsible there. So that is the reason why Krishna is telling before the war to Arjuna, Arjuna, listen to my words, they are very important. I have already killed those people. And I have already killed those people. Who are they? They are your teachers, your grandsires. They are your enemies and they are your brothers as well, stepbrother. You may not know this. Own brothers, uncles, aunt, everybody. I cannot kill my teacher because Dronacharya is my teacher. If Dronacharya is against my laws, is against the righteous path, then Dronacharya also has to be killed. If Bhishma Pitama is against my laws, Bhishma also has to be killed. And that is how the union, that is how the future is going to be. You cannot dictate terms where future is concerned. You cannot even dictate terms to what life you're going to have in your next, coming lifetime of yours. When you have a rebirth, you cannot dictate terms to over there. This is your duty. Do it. Period. Don't ask questions. Today's satsang is all about caution. Please be careful. This is like a warning statement. When Krishna is saying certain words, listen to them carefully. Don't do anything which is not righteous. Somebody asked me a question a few days ago, and I told that person, you are free to do what you want, but the moment you step out of line, I am not with you. You follow a righteous path, you be the person that I am telling you to be, I am with you. But the moment you step out of line, I am not responsible. This is your life, this is what I am telling you to do, go ahead and do it. My entire universe will support you. But you take one wrong step and you refuse to do what I am telling you to do, I am not responsible for anything after that. So, do kill Dronacharya and Bhishma and Jayadratha and Karna and other brave warriors because they are fighting you. You are a great warrior, and if somebody is going to fight you, those people are really brave to fight you. And you should kill a brave man because it is important. That person will reach the heavens. And that is why these people reached the heavens. Because they were doing their duty. Okay, these brave warriors, they were doing their duty, whatever they might be doing. They are already stand killed by me. Fear not, don't be afraid. When I tell you to go ahead and do something, don't be afraid. Because if my hand is on top of your head, why are you afraid? Krishna is telling Arjuna this. When I have blessed you, why are you having doubts again and again? When my blessings are on you, just go and do it. Fight and you will surely conquer the enemies in the war. And you will surely find, kill the enemies, conquer the enemies. So we will do the next verse. Now this is the story going on from the Mahabharata. Those who don't know about it, please remember this. This is a story from the Mahabharata. Okay, Ved Vyas has written Sanjaya. Sanjaya is the charioteer. He is telling that blind old fellow, Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya said, so this is which verse? We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 11 verse 35. Sanjaya said, hearing these words of Bhagwan Keshava, Arjuna tremblingly bowed to him with folded hands and bowing again in extreme terror, spoke to Shri Krishna in faltering accents. Today's satsang for the last 54 minutes has been a horrifying one, isn't it? Isn't it such a terrifying one? Did you get a glimpse of how this is? I don't think ever Krishna has said these kind of words. Krishna has always said, do it, my dear fellow, do it. But when he says, I am the Kala, I am that final one who can destroy and exterminate everything and everybody in this world. You don't know that I have already killed these people? I don't think he has ever said any of these things. And this is the first time Sri Krishna has shown his other side of his nature. His nature is all powerful. Please remember this. His nature is very powerful. Krishna may look like an ordinary person with the flute, with that morpunk on top of his head. Maybe with his gopis doing the dance, he looks like a very ordinary guy who is just having fun with all the beautiful gopis around him. He doesn't look vicious, he doesn't look angry, he doesn't have anything, any of those qualities to show, oh, how can he be like this? But this is the same Krishna whom we have seen in that Virat Swarupa. The Swarupa of his which nobody has the right to even look at, because it is extremely dangerous. You have only heard of Narsimha. The Narsimha avatar, which everybody thought was dangerous. Narsimha avatar is one tiny avatar of Krishna. You have heard of Shiva and his Tandava. You have heard of it, isn't it? Shiva is one tiny avatar of Krishna. When Krishna says, I terminate everybody, I am the exterminator, I destroy everything, doesn't that tell you Shiva is part of Krishna only? Isn't this a holy book which is bringing you up to date? So Shiva is one of his forms, and when he says, I am the Kala, isn't Shiva called Kala, by the way? And his female form is called Kali. So what do you think Kala and Kali is all about? Mahakal, they call him, isn't it? Who do you think he is? One of the tiny forms of Krishna. And that entire Virat Swarupa, that one form of his is that. So Sanjaya is telling this to Dhritarashtra because now Arjuna is totally scared. He says, oh my God, what are you talking, Krishna? Hearing these words of Bhagwan, Krishna, Arjuna tremblingly bowed down to him. He said, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what was happening. Fear. Being terribly afraid, with folded hands, bowing again and again, in extreme terror. He is in extreme terror. You know, when you are scared, you know how the words come out of your mouth? Sometimes I love acting, okay? So yes, this is the way the words come out. You can't even speak. Their words are stuck up in their mouth. Arjuna is filled with that kind of a terror. He started speaking in faltering accents. You know that kind of a words? This, today's 1 hour of satsang, is just a dire warning or a caution. Don't run after things which you think you want. And don't tell that this is what I am here for, because you don't understand. The dear Lord, Sri Krishna, has sent you in this world to do a certain duty. Realize the duty today. And when you realize your duty and do it, everything will stand clear from your path. But if you start believing that this is what you want to do, your path will be littered with difficulties, impossible situations. You will never be able to reach any goals and destinations that you might have think of in your life. So today's lesson is all about that. Don't try to show your ego and your arrogance and say this is what I am and this is what I will do. Because you don't even have the right for tomorrow. Because you don't control anything. Krishna is Kala. He controls everything. Krishna is the exterminator. He can destroy anything. He is the one who creates. He is the one who destroys. He is the one who sustains. He is everything. So with this, we will stop over here and we will continue from verse 36 in the evening today. And I'll see you all then. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you all later. Bye.